This is Dr. Bill. I wanted to go over my glute activation series that I like to go over with my clients. You can or you don't have to use a band. I'm going to show it without a band, but if you're going to use the band, I would recommend below your knees. That way it doesn't roll up on your hips. And it gives you a good resistance for your hips. So what we're going to start with is we're going to just start with our hips nice and wide. Basically, I want you as wide as you can. I'm sitting forward on my chair. I'm kind of rocked forward so that my pelvic floor is my main contact with the chair. I have my ribs in the nice neutral position. My spine is in a nice neutral position. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to find my pelvis here, and then I'm going to slide my thumbs down, and right below your pelvic rim there, that's where your glutes start, way up there. So the common misconception is that when we squeeze our butt, we should be squeezing it way down here. That's some different muscles, and we want to make sure that we're using our actual glute muscles. That's what we need for glute activation. All right, so we're going to be in this wide open position, and we're going to try and open our hips. That's the cue I want to give. So we're opening your groin, trying to open your hips as wide as you can, and we should feel the muscles under your thumb squeeze to make that motion. All right, so you got to work on it. You're going to have to kind of be mindful. If you're not actually doing it, you're going to have to practice and kind of really think, okay, how can I open my hips that way so that I'm using that muscle? Next, we're going to use sliders. We're going to do that same thing. We're going to go open as wide as we can, making sure using our fingers for feedback, making sure we're using those butt muscles, those high glute muscles, I like to call them. It's not really a thing. It just kind of helps people understand how high I want it. You want to make sure that your hips are doing the motion and your feet aren't. Your feet and knees should just kind of be going for a ride. A lot of times when people do this, they're thinking about moving their knees, or they want to kind of go out with their feet. We want to think, okay, I'm opening my hips and my knees and my feet are just going for a ride. From there, what we're going to do is we're going to kind of have closer to hip width apart, and we're going to open, again, our hips using those muscles with no regard of our feet. Notice my feet are kind of rolling up. That's how we're just going to practice, because I want you, again, focusing this motion, this range of motion. Last, what you're going to do is you're going to hold your glutes open as much as you can and keep them active as you roll your feet flat, okay? And then we can relax. Then we're going to roll open, roll your feet in, and you should have contact between your big toe, and then relax. Last, not least, is going to be, can you keep your feet firmly on the ground and open your hips? Again, notice how much of a difference in range of motion that is. And are you using those butt muscles? Again, using your fingers for feedback, because your brain is not going to quite fully get it. When you get it, you should really feel a nice burn right. So again, your pelvis is here, your hip bone is here. You should feel a nice burn right in between on that back side, especially if you're keeping those big toes down. Again, you're going to have to kind of relax the inner calf muscles to prevent yourself from pulling up, but we're really opening the groin as you keep those feet down. All right, so that's step one. Nice little progression for glute activation. Going forward, we're going to go into hip hinging and squatting, but once we get that going and you can replicate that with ease, you're going to be in a much better position to use your hips for movement.